Right, so the process of today's video is to give you a quick outline of this tailgate handle that I've decided to replace and customise at the same time. My car, 1962-63 EJ Holden panelvan. The tailgate on them have this mechanism in them. This part of the mechanism both locates where the locking rods slot into. It allows for the handle to pull the locking rods, but also allows the locking rods to push in on the keyway, so you can just shut the tailgate without having to pull the lever, shut the tailgate, release the lever. I can understand why Holden decided to make them out of die-cast aluminium, pot metal, whatever they are, to get the shape, but it was really the wrong material for choice. It does fatigue quite badly, and I have tried to weld another one of these I've got that's broken. I've got no idea what's in it. It could have lead, it's got zinc, it's got tin, it's got all sorts of crap in it, because you try to weld it and it just falls to pieces. As soon as you try to heat it, it falls to pieces. So it's no wonder the material just fatigue cracked after a couple of dozen decades of use. So the plan is to replace this. Now I have this Cortina. I've been told it's Cortina. It was a swap meet special. Old mate had 4 of them for, I think it was $8 or something like that. This handle here, which I think looks much nicer than this mess. Even though this mess was covered with sheet metal to keep it safe, I understand they were commercial vehicles. Mine isn't anymore, so I'm going to make it prettier. This is far nicer than that. Problem is, you go to put this on top. Well, where's the mechanism? Everything's attached to this. This is like a one-piece deal. I can understand why they did it for assembly reasons, like 2 screws and you're done. So to replace that, I remanufactured, so let me unscrew this. I remanufactured it in all the components so I can make them separately. So what I've got here, this is a stepped bit of 5mm plate, 2 5mm tapped holes, metric, it doesn't matter. 1, because they're Phillips head, you don't care what thread a Phillips head screw is, you just use it. 2, it's custom, and 3, I'm never going to sell it, so it's never going to become anyone else's problem besides mine. To get this step in it, you couldn't do it with a brake press, you couldn't do it in a bar bender. Maybe you could have done it in a bar bender, but you wouldn't have been able to get this close, not in this thicker material. So the only way I could think around it is to use a press die, something like this. So that gets dropped in, this piece goes on top, and then I put it in a hydraulic press that I have access to, and it deforms it into the shape that you want. Nice and simple. Get rid of these. That's how I made that. These holes are offset for a reason, as the original ones are offset. They're closer to this edge than they are to that edge. What that does, it allows you to bring the mechanism forward while keeping the bracket further forward. Sorry, keeping the bracket further forward while keeping the mechanism further back. So the next part of the problem was, on the original here, we have these keyways and it's all part of the handle assembly, one big chunk. So I made up this, again, 5mm plate, hole drill through the center. Keyway was simply 3 holes drilled out, then angle grind the webbing in between, then file it down. This took a lot of time to get right, so the things actually, the locking rods actually slot in nice and smoothly and move as they should. These relief cuts here, they are so the locking rod clips, they clamp over the top, they've got to have clearance. That's also in the original, you can see. There's clearance on this side, clearance on that side, clearance here. That's just how they made them. So I thought I'd replicate it. The basic assembly, well, the biggest problem is this one's hidden by sheet metal. So half of what you see, well, all you really see is from here up, which is all that's broken off. I want to put this in, which means you're going to have to be able to see it. Now to see it, 2 ways you can do it. You can either just slap it on top and then make a really long shaft and bearing it, or bush it, and it would have looked a bit silly having this sitting on top of the tailgate. So in a lot of other cars I've seen, they've got a recessed bucket. Now this bucket here is made up out of a 2mm piece, maybe 3mm, I think it is 3mm. This side panel here, this is 0.9 or 1.2, 0.9, 1.2 panel steel. Should be cold rolled, but it hasn't taken any rust. Not for me running my fingers over it, nothing. So I don't think it's cold rolled. It might be hot rolled. Doesn't matter. whatever it is, it worked for the job. These holes here are for the screws. They will eventually sit on top of, and they screw into this bracket, which is the same as this bracket, which holds the whole assembly into the tailgate. This won't be a bolt in though. This part here will be welded in to the tailgate, and in doing so I had to make a cut in order to get this to seat, because I want this to be flush. So there's two webbings, you'll see them on the tailgate later. These two webbings, this sits in between. This got cut out. I cut it out so I could actually leave the original holes. I just replicated them on the top. This sits down. This piece here bolts up. And as you saw before, what I have got is a couple of washers at the moment. Just chuck one in. Now the washers are only for the sake of working out spacings and things like that. I'll actually machine a proper one up out of billet later. So we kept the original keyway, so the Cortina is a square drive, so we used the square material. Put this in nice and quick. So that goes in there like that. This bracket here will be welded to the main shaft once I get the spacings correct. At the moment this is only mock-up. So in theory what should happen is turn the handle just like the original. Now for this to all go together, what we need, this is just a 3D printer template that I made. I haven't committed to the top one in sheet metal yet, not until all this is welded in and finalised, because I haven't got the finished shape. So this will go where it is, this goes inside, this connecting arm goes underneath, spacer for a washer, these go here, this bracket, which is what everything holds onto, gets bolted in. The bolts come from the underside. It's a messy assembly because it's not meant to be put together outside of the car. It gets bolted together. Again, long doesn't matter. You can always cut them back, but you can't make a thread. You can make a thread on them. It's not worth the effort. Really not worth the effort. So imagine two of those with that bolt sitting down. There will be 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3, holding this sheet metal piece down. They have not been confirmed because I haven't got around to making this piece yet. Handle turns, pulls the rods let the tailgate out. This will all be set into the car. So just hold on 2 seconds and I'll show you what it looks like in the car. Right, so we're back at the tailgate now. Now, this is what I cut out. And have I got the original part around here? Somewhere in the mess of this back of this panel van. Excuse me. That's the original cover plate, and the original handle sort of poked out of here. So this is gone. I'll sell that off later. So what I've got is, get that out of the way, I've got my bucket. The bucket is a little bit tight, but that, again, I haven't trimmed everything to fit 100% yet. So that drops in like that. It sits in between these 2 bits of webbing. This returned edge keeps the height up here. This edge will be kept up by the weld. Then I will have all the bracket and all the assembly we've just seen bolt up underneath here, through the original bolt holes. This sheet metal will be sheet metal, goes on top. This connects in to the original locking tabs, and we effectively have a tailgate handle lever. So this will all be silica bronzed around here, down to here. Again, this piece of sheet metal, want to come over, roll down. This radius returned edge here, I'll probably panel beat flat, and then when this comes out, I'll give it somewhere nice for it to seat up and up against. So that's the basic overview of the whole process.